When your ex says that they've lost the spark, what it means is that they've lost attraction for you. But it doesn't mean that you're not an attractive person. Watch this video to understand how this has happened and what you can do moving forward. So if your ex lost the spark, it's probably because of one of the following things. So these things may not apply to you, but it could be that, number one, you spent too much time together. You had a lot of times where you weren't going out on adventures and going out on fun dates. You spent a lot of time at the house, just a lot of mundane time just kind of hanging around each other, and complacency and familiarity set in. Number two, you lost your edge and you really stopped doing your hobbies, all the things that made you you when you were single that were attractive to that other person. You stopped pouring yourself into those things as seriously as what you were doing when you were single. And the third thing is, it could be that they weren't creating space in their head of gratitude for you as a person. A lot of times people can take each other for granted, especially even when we do a bunch of things for our partner, okay? Those things can just kind of get seen as, that they come with the territory. And if that person isn't creating space for gratitude for you in their head, ultimately, they're not going to be thankful for you, no matter how good of a person you are. This is why it's really, really important to date people that intentionally create space for gratitude in their lives. And the fourth thing is, you were probably chasing them. If you were to go back into your text messages right now and you went back and you looked at who messaged first, most of the time, willing to bet it was probably you, okay? And if you were to look at the text bubbles and see, whose text bubbles were bigger, who was asking the other person more questions, who was putting in more effort into the text conversations, it was probably you if you were chasing them. Now, another thing that could have caused them to lose the spark is that you validated everything that they said. So if they said they like this, then you're like, yeah, I like that too. Or they said, oh yeah, today was such a hard day at work. You're like, oh, I'm sorry. I can't believe it was such a hard day at work. And you just overly empathize with every little thing and you validate every little thing that they say. It becomes very, very boring for that person, even if you were only trying to be supportive. And in the same zone as being overly validating and empathizing, if you don't feel at ease to say whatever it is that you want to say and just kind of act however you want to act around that person, and you kind of walk on eggshells, that person, in other words, trying to manage their perception of you, that person is going to feel that and they're going to become less attracted to you as well. Now, notice how everything I said in this video are just logistical changes, little tweaks that you can make to your behavior, and it has nothing to do with how attractive you are as a person. So if your ex said these things to you, you can go no contact, let attraction creep back up in your absence. And when they come back around, you can make these changes and try to re-attract them back into your life. Now, if your ex told you that they lost the spark, click on my profile, click the link in my profile, and tell me about your situation with one of the options in my store.